Video, we're going to review how to graph linear equations as well as linear inequalities, including systems of linear inequalities. To begin with, I have an equation that starts with 2x plus 3y equals 12. Now, we could, because this is an equation, I could cheat a little bit and use the cover-up method since this is standard form. Okay? I could say, okay, 2x equals 12, and I could solve that. Okay, and then divide both sides by 2, and that tells me that x equals 6. So I could put a dot on the 6 on the x-axis. Now, I could do the same thing and solve for y. Okay, include the sign in front of it. 3y equals 12. It's positive 3y. Divide both sides by 3. And I get y equals 4. 2, 3, 4. And connect the lines. And connect the points. Well, that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it would be to get y by itself by first subtracting 2x from both sides. Okay, that would give me 3y equals negative 2x plus 12. Then I could divide everything by 3. That leaves me with y equals negative 2/3 x plus 4. Now we could see this visualized here because our y-intercept is 4, which we have. Our slope is negative 2/3. So from here I could go down 2, 1, 2, right 3, 1, 2, 3. Perfect world, it would be right there. But I made this graph, so it's not perfect. But if we do this again, down 2, 1, 2, right 3, 1, 2, 3, and look, we end up at the same place on the x-axis. Okay? Now, if you make your graphs and you're off a little bit like that, okay, as long as you have things in the right place, okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of leeway. Okay? So that's linear equations solving. Now, looking in the packet, these are linear inequalities. Now, a couple things to remember. Okay, and we can put these down at the bottom. Okay, if it's just greater than or less than, okay, it's dashed lines. If it's equals to, it's a solid line. Okay, that's the first thing we have to remember. Now, here's something else that we must remember. Okay, if there is a minus sign in the inequality, you cannot use the cover-up method. Okay, you can, but it is very difficult to come up with the correct answer consistently. So I always suggest that people solve for y if the part containing y is positive. So solve for y if y is negative. The other piece of the puzzle is, remember, if you divide by a negative number, you must reverse the sign. If you divide by a negative number, you must reverse the sign. So, let's head back up to number 1, shall we? Okay, 3x minus 2y is less than 12. Okay, no big deal. Because y is negative, I cannot use the cover-up method, so now I have to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Okay. that gives me negative 2y is less than negative 3x plus 12. Okay, that's a 12 in there. I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. So that gives me positive y now. I divide it by a negative number, so this sign gets reversed. Negative 3 over negative 2 is positive 3 halves x. Positive 12 divided by negative 2 is negative 6. Okay, so put a dot at negative 6. Now I'm going to rise 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, run 2. 1, 2. Now, because there is no line here, I'm going to dash this as I draw it. Now, I'm not finished. Because it is an inequality, the solution is a half plane, which means I must shade one side of this. Since y is by itself, and this says greater than, I'm going to shade the side where it is above the y-axis. So, that's where I'm shading. Had that said less than, I would have shaded under the line. In number 2, hey, this is plus. I can cheat. So, 2x greater than 4. I'm just going to pretend that it's equal. So 2x equals 4, so x equals 2. Put my dot. Y equals 4. Put my dot. There is a line, so I can make it solid. Good enough. Now, because this is greater than 4, I'm going to shade above the line. Okay. Now, jumping down, I'm going to start with number 4. This is a system of inequalities. Okay? Now, oh no, one of these is has a negative sign. Well, that means I have to solve for y. Now, whether you have room on your paper to do so or you have to use a piece of scrap paper, you do what you got to do. Okay? The bottom one, however, is in good shape. I could use the cover-up method there. So, this first one, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. So, minus 2x, minus 2x. So I get negative 3y is greater than negative 2x minus 12. Now I'm going to divide everything by negative 3. Okay, because I divided by a negative number, I reverse the sign. Negative 2 divided by negative 3 is positive 2/3. Negative 12 divided by negative 3 is positive 4. Don't forget your x. We'll start by going up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put my dot. Now I'm going to use a slope. Rise 2, run 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to use my ruler now just to give me a straight line. Now notice there is no line under here, so it has to be dashed. And because this is less than, I'm going to shade underneath. Now for the next one, I'm going to use red. I hope it shows up that way for you. Okay? Because these are both positive, or because y is positive, I can cheat. Okay? X equals negative 2. So, put a dot at negative 2. Cover up here, y is negative 2 as well. Notice that this has a line under it. So, I can draw a solid line. And because this is greater, I'm going to shade above the red line. And my solution is where these overlap. So it's this region in here. Okay. That's where the shading overlaps. It's this region enclosed right here. Okay, now that's important for what we have coming up. So I shall do one more of these for you. In number 5, okay, I have 3x minus 4y is greater than 18. Okay, because y is negative, I must solve for y. So subtract 3x from both sides. Now I'm going to divide everything by -4. Again, I do them individually. So positive y, reverse the sign. -3 over -4 is positive 3 over positive 4. X. 18 divided by -4 is, well, it's -9/2. Now when I graph that, I'm going to graph 4.5. Not going to lie. But for the equation, I'm going to write 9/2. So I start off -4.5. Good enough. Now, I'm going to count up 3 from that point, ensuring to stay in the middle. So 1, 2, 3, and then write 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So about there. Good enough. Okay? Because there's no line, this will be dashed. Good enough. Now the second equation, y is positive. Oops, I forgot to shade. It's less than, so I'm going to shade underneath. Now for the second one, y is positive, so I can use the cover-up method. So 5x equals 15, so x equals 3. So put a dot at 3. Now 2y equals 15, so y is 7.5, or 15/2. So 7.5, right in there. Now there is a line under it, so I'm going to draw it solid. And because it is less than, I'm going to shade underneath where it touches the y-axis. When I say above or beneath, I'm referring to where the line touches the y-axis. Now, because I'm shading underneath, I'm going to shade where these equations are. So, and the overlap is this region down in here. So that's what we care about. Okay. That's all for this video. If you have any questions, you're welcome to come in and get extra help. Thank you very much.